What's up, guys? Welcome to VHB Engines. First off, I want to say is whoa. Um, I can definitely tell the difference now between the iPhone 4 and the quality of the iPhone 5. The iPhone 5 is, I know is years old now, but the quality between the 4 and the 5 is fucking light years apart. Now, I'm filming on the 4 tonight because the 5's charger is at work and I'm not paying $20 for another charger, so I just got to go one day with shitty footage. It should still at least be 480p, and it shouldn't be too big a deal because today's video is just going to be a discussion. It's not going to be anything where you need to see in great detail, just my voice. Alright, so before we start tonight's topic, which is going to be Franken engines, the Frankenstein builds, I want to address the video I just put up. 25 views, guys. So I clearly see the amounts of fucks not given about the Snapchat thing. But let me explain. Maybe I should have fucking clickbaited you guys into watching that a little bit, so that way you could hear what I was saying. And it's only a 2-minute video, guys. Come on now, give me a break. Anyway, so what I was saying is there's a lot of times I want to talk to you guys, give you little updates during the day. And there's also times that I fucking forget things in videos and I want to, address it. And I'm not going to make another 2-minute fucking video to upload and be like, oh, and then. And I'm not going to take down the video and re-upload it again to add a little bit. So, the Snapchat thing I thought was maybe an idea to where I could, take little quick videos and show you guys things or tell you guys things without having to swell up YouTube or swell up my Instagram. But I was thinking recently, and if you guys are opposed to the Snapchat, maybe you're down with the Twitter thing, and I can post little update videos like that to Twitter. Although I don't know enough about Twitter yet to know if Twitter restricts time on the videos like they do their text chats. But anyway, that's something to think about, guys. There's a lot of times I want to talk to you guys, address things that are going on. It avoids me making a big post on Facebook. I mean, I don't mind. Of course, I always update my Facebook shit on my page. I tell you guys to watch all the time, but I think sometimes it'd just be easier for me to talk to you guys for like a minute or two compared to me sitting on my phone fucking type, and most of you guys not even really see it. I don't mind putting out the scheduling stuff on the YouTube or the Facebook page because that's, at least that way you can go and see it anytime, like that. So, now to get to the main topic here, Frankensteins. Now, back when I first got into the Honda shit, way back when, I used to hear about the Frankenstein builds all the time. I used to think that was just LS VTEC or B20 VTEC. Doc VTEC head, non VTEC block. We all know about that shit. But after I got started building, I realized that the Honda Frankenstein game is way, way beyond that. It's so much more to it, the Frankenstein build, than just the head swap. Oh. I personally fucking love the Frankenstein shit. I love mixing OEM parts because I think, I don't like to throw away anything. Any pistons or rods are usable. You gotta have some kind of use for them. There's always somewhere you can use them for the most part, besides just a stock rebuild. There are plenty of engine combinations you can make to make really good power without having to go forged. You don't have to buy forged pistons and eagle rods to go high compression. Now, well, I will admit that you need that to go like super high compression, but I personally it crushes my soul inside when I see somebody fully built block, fucking eagle rods, fucking Wiseco pistons, 14-1 compression, 250 horsepower. I'm like, oh my god, dude, you spent like fucking $800 on pistons and rods for sub 300s. It kills me, So why do that when you can get close to that power with OEM parts? Now, for sure, for some of the older parts, you gotta put a little bit more effort into them. But even this, it stretches beyond that into the K series, like the K24, or I'm sorry, not the K24, the K20A3 and the K20A2. The blocks are identical. All right. The only thing is the K20A3 doesn't have oil squirters. All right, not a fucking big deal. So, like to make the difference of power between the K20A3 and the A2 is the head and cams, as as well as the compression. And even though the head and cam is different, you still have the same compression ratios from that head that you would a K20A3 head. But I think the K20A2 is like 11:1 or something like that. I'm pretty sure it's 11:1 compression compared to the K20A3, which is like 9:6:1 or some shit like that. It's kind of low. It's a dramatic drop. So that dramatic drop, is just because of the piston dome, the way that's made. Now, like if you watch my other videos with the K20A3 rebuild, you'll see that I used K20A2 pistons in the K20A2 block. Now I'm sorry, K20A2 pistons in the K20A3 block. Now, because the pistons are interchangeable and they're floating, so it's a very easy job to do. All you gotta do is pop the pin out, slide the pistons onto the A3 rods, and put it back in. Now, with what you're doing with that is you're bringing the compression from 9.6 to 11. That is a huge jump, and a huge compression bump. That'll bump you a big ass chunk of horsepower in and of itself right there alone. So right there, the K20A3 becomes a viable build, because you can buy brand new pistons with rings for like $100 or like $110, or you can buy used fucking pistons for like $50 or $30 and buy a set of rings for $20 and have yourself a badass fucking mod. So I eventually want to get to this. I want to get to talking to the K20A3, but we're not going to go into too much detail now. Just know that can be a good build with doing the little Frankenstein shit beyond just putting the K20A2 head on it. So now imagine if you put a K20A2 head on the A3 block and you throw those pistons in there, you have yourself pretty much a K20A2. The weakness in that being that the rods are still weak, but if you're going to run NA, it doesn't matter. You'll still be able to safely make the same power NA that the K20A2 makes, which is close to around 300 horsepower if you're using, depending on what fuel you're using. That's not bad. Now, as far as the B series goes, you're looking at the B18, GSR, B16, B20, and those all have high compression options. That's great. Now, of course, the B16 has the CTRs, which everybody knows those pistons are like fucking dome shaped like this. Those come out of the B16B, if I'm correct, and I'm pretty sure I am. And that bumps compression in the B16 pretty high. Now, personally, I think the only way the B16 block is a viable build is if you do that. You put the CTR pistons and maybe the GSR head and cams, and that B16 goes from being a piece of shit to an engine capable of putting down power, although the torque may still be a little lower. But I'm still certain that that poor man's Type R will easily cross the 200 horsepower barrier with a good tune. And injectors and fuel pump upgrade. Now, as far as the B18 or the LS VTEC goes for high compression, you can do a block like what I'm doing right now. Use the B18 block with the PR3 B16 pistons. Now, there's two different B16 pistons you can use. I use the PR3, which are a little bit lower than the other option, but the PR3s are just more readily available. And it still gives you a nice solid jump. It bumps you up to like around 11, depending on which head you use, which I would always recommend the GSR for maximum compression. And this is all on the on a compression calculator. If you don't know about it already, if you don't know about ZL AutoWorks already, I'm gonna leave the link below. And now we can look at the B20 block. The B20 block is comes in two versions. There's a lower compression one and a high compression one. I'm sure you guys know about it. They sell them like that. Now, it's not a huge compression bump. It's like it's the low 9s compression to like mid to high 9s. It's like 9.1 or some shit, or 9.2, and it jumps up to 9.6. Now, it's not a huge bump, but it's a big enough bump to where you'll notice like a 10-20 horsepower difference. It's just stock as is. So the PHK B20 blocks or B20s are faster than those the ones that aren't. So there's that, and then you can swap it, B16 or GSR head on that, and you're looking at another 200 horsepower easy block with just So the whole point is you don't have to buy forged pistons rods to get high compression when you can still cross the 200 horsepower threshold with just OEM pistons swapped around for you a bit. And then also, what I did recently, well, not recently, it was a while back now, I also built a poor man's GSR. What I did was I had forged pistons and rods for the V18, and I wanted to use the GSR block because the girdle really, helps reinforce. So what I did was I swapped my LS crank and pistons and rods into the GSR block, and I took the GSR crank and rods because the piston was trash because it dropped the valve in it. Excuse me. I put that into a B18 block, the GSR piston or not? Yeah, the GSR pistons and rods, and the crank into a B18 block. Now, if you would have slapped a B18 head on there, the compression wouldn't have been that big. As a matter of fact, it's possible, if I remember correctly, it might have been a little bit lower than it's supposed to be, but it would still give a healthy nudge if you put a GSR. It would be like if you put a GSR head on the B18 block with the B18 or with the GSR internals, it's a little bit higher in compression than the GSR would be, so that's cool. But if you wanted to, you could use that block as like a low compression type deal, low or medium compression for a boost, because those pistons and rods or the rods, more importantly, are stronger than the B18s. So of course that allow you to run with a safer state of mind when you're up there in power. Even though I generally say that B18s can hold around about what the GSR does. Okay, so here's another thing, guys, for you guys to talk about the H22 all the time. The H22 is also like big on the Frankenstein shit. You can use the F block. What I really want to do is the F23 block with the ones that has the floating pistons in it, and you could actually take the K20A3's pistons, and even though there's shit compression in the K20, you could put those in the F23 with the H22 head and make yourself a high compression motor there. Or I've also recently found out that the fucking rods are interchangeable too, so you could take the pistons and rods from the A3 and put it on there. Now, okay, before I say that 100%, I have to do a little bit more research on that, but that's what I heard. But I do know for sure that you could put those pistons in there, and that's been my plan for a while now, was F23 block, the single cam, the F23 block with F23 rods, K20A3 pistons, H22 head. I already have an H22 head. For some of you guys that have paid attention to my valve cover, it's an H22 valve cover, and I have that head. Thanks to Kino, if he's out there watching somewhere. I do have that head. So if I could just get the fucking block, I'd be good to go for a G. You know, you can make me a G23. Anyway, I'm sure that there's still plenty more fucking OEM Frankenstein builds that you can do out there that I haven't touched on. Like I've also recently heard that the J32 block with the J35's rotating assembly and heads is like the J36 is what they call it. So you know, there's all kinds of different things that you can play with out there. Zeal AutoWorks doesn't have J series compression on there, but it has, you know, all the other basic shit. It's got the HFDBK, all those compression ratios on there, and you can just play with different combinations and see where it'll end you up at. And the greatest thing about this high compression bump is it'll bump up your compression enough to give you easy horsepower, especially if you go with some cams. It'll bump up have easy horsepower, and it won't require you to run E85 or race fuel. When you go like 14.1 like that, you're looking at, you got a minimum of E85. So I think if you can still cross the 200 horsepower barrier and with just OEM Frankenstein flipping around, that's great. And I'm still confident that you could do that high compression, the P16 PR3 pistons in an LS block with a GSR head. And I think with that and basic bolt-ons, you could probably, you know, pretty easily cross the 200 horsepower barrier. So it's just that, you know, like I said, like I've always preached all the time, that, you know, VHP engines is about, you know, making as much power as you can on a good budget. And I think that if you guys are out there and you want to make a good power on an NA thing, like I don't personally do NA, but I would really like to see people do these builds, because I mean, I've put them together and I just haven't seen numbers come back from them yet. But this weekend for sure, the high compression B18 block will be finished. I was damn tempted to go out and put those rings on and just go ahead and drop it in the block. But I got my control arms in the mail today, and I decided to keep myself busy with that. And I was going to post pictures and shit, but I couldn't because my phone is like, it's not dead yet, but it's like fucking 5% battery life. So anyway, what I did today with this afternoon with the Integra was I ripped off the front suspension of it. I took off the knuckles, the upper and lower control arms as one piece, because I'm going to change the wheel studs I'm going to change the upper and lower control arms. I'm going to change the bearings. I mean, not the bearings, but the ball joints in the control in the knuckles. Put new rotors, new brakes, new calipers. And I'm even considering, now that I'm going all out on this, I might do wheel bearings too, possibly. Not 100% decided on that one yet. But I might even go further. I have a fucking, EGDC, what's that shit called? Rack and pinion, that's brand new. And I got brand new tie rod ends, so I could put that new rack on there. And in the meantime, I could also yank that steering column out and put a new steering column on there, so I could, from the EK, so that way I can use the nice fancy new steering wheels in the Integra. But anyway, I'm kind of torn right now between doing what I normally do, which is hurry up and wrapping up the Integra so that way I can get it rolling, or taking my time with it. And I made a big sacrifice to bring that car with me, and I think I really want to do this build right. And the car is pretty clean, so it wouldn't take much. But that's a whole nother discussion. I'm already dragging on here a couple minutes on that. I know that this video has bounced around a lot. Anyway, so if you're new here to VHP Engines, I do engine assemblies and discussion videos like this for tech tips and all that stuff. Go to VHP Engines main page on YouTube, and you can check. I have all my videos sorted out in the playlist, so it's pretty easy to find what you need to answer your questions. And I also have my social media in the links below. It's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Facebook, I do pretty much daily updates to let you guys know what's coming in the future or what I'm fucking around with. If you got anything out of this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. The channel's still growing, so all of that stuff kind of helps me out with getting these videos spread around on YouTube a bit. And that's going to be it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I promise I'll have the better camera back tomorrow. And peace.